Hi, welcome to my subscriber report. This is just something I do every now and then to let my subscribers know what's going on with the channel and what I'm going to be working on in the next few weeks until the next subscriber report. Gives people an opportunity to see where I'm going with the overall direction of the channel and to pitch in with ideas and to provide feedback if they haven't provided it elsewhere. So I thought it was probably about time I did one. I did one a couple of weeks ago. It came to me when actually a couple of days ago I woke up and suddenly saw a load of subs were missing. It's like, what's happened? What have I done? Turns out there's a bit of a purge by YouTube. It's a good idea. Getting rid of basically accounts that don't really exist anymore. So that it's not really giving you a false idea of how many actual subscribers as in real people you have. And it's a good idea because what you don't want like a channel that's got loads and loads of subscribers not actually getting many views. The only slight worry is there have been anecdotal reports of some people finding out that they have an active account and YouTube has unsubscribed them from various things. So it might be worth checking the people that you subscribe to and make sure that it's still the same people you thought it was. But I think largely what it is actually is a purge of, just accounts that don't really exist. And what I was also doing recently is just having a look. I thought to myself about the growth of the channel, because what's happened recently is number of views each month has gone down a bit, but that is because I think it was artificially high a couple of months ago when a few months ago I started the Archives of Warcraft series, and what was happening is a few of those I'd sort of linked on Reddit and some people really liked them, and then a couple of others I linked and didn't really do anything, and then a couple of other people have linked a couple of my videos, and again like one or two of them has done pretty well. So in other words, some of my videos, a small number of them have been distributed elsewhere, so people haven't just happened across them on YouTube, and they've ended up getting a lot of views. And it's possibly artificial because this it's a bit hit and miss, this, and nothing of mine's been linked on Reddit for a little while, or indeed anywhere else. So what I thought I'd do is I'll do myself a little Excel chart with number of views each month since I started doing the channel properly, which is like September. I started from October because it wasn't a full month in September. And then I thought I'd also plot how many subscribers I'd gained in each of those months as well. So it's not a net amount of subscribers, just growth of subscribers. And it's a pretty good correlation. It sort of the pattern sort of follows. And I'm hoping this is a good thing. I'm hoping what it means is that a significant proportion of people, when they watch the videos, actually quite like it. So even when you get a video that's been distributed elsewhere and you get lots of extra views, because it's quite easy when you get a lot of extra views to think, well, people who wouldn't ordinarily happen across it are watching it, and they're probably less likely to like it because they haven't, it hasn't been suggested to them based on viewing habits on YouTube, or it hasn't been based on a search they've put in. It's sort of been flagged up for them on a different platform. But in actual fact, you can see where there's been an increase in the number of viewers, there's generally been a proportional increase in the number of subscribers I've gained. In other words, people that have liked the video and decided they want to be informed of when there's going to be other videos coming out. So that's quite positive. But as I say, it's settled down a bit now because, it's just not been distributed elsewhere. The channel will hopefully just grow at its own pace, and we'll see what happens. At some point, maybe, because I've sort of looked at like more successful YouTubers and their early stuff, and you sort of see it sort of stays steady for a little while and it jumps up a little bit, and then it's steady for a little while and then goes up a little bit more. Hopefully that's the sort of thing. I mean, it is quite niche as well, what I do some general things, but a lot of it is quite niche. So I'm not sure what the actual potential of it is, if indeed there is any. But hopefully, I'm just hoping that's a nice little pattern. It's a good little pattern. Now, on to, just started, haven't I? Top 10. I did a top 10, which I sort of did myself. It was based on something myself. And then at the end of it, I sort of introduced another one with a poll where people could sort of vote on it. That's sort of coming to an end now. There's a few people voted on that one. So the next one, it'll be a top 5, this one, just because of the number of people that have voted on that one. and that video I'm going to do this weekend. In terms of work, I'm getting, at the moment it's been quite difficult. At this time of year, usually, as we finish the end of the summer term, it's usually quite relaxed. I don't usually have to do a lot of work at home because we're just winding down. Students have effectively finished. I'm spending my time in the college just planning for next year, maybe doing some training, things like that. It's not worked out that way this year. We've had a lot of work to do. We've still got students in. Students are still working. There's been a lot of things go wrong the last year in all sorts of things. In fact, in all aspects of my life, there's been a certain amount of turmoil this year, and at work it's been no different. So I've actually been really, really busy. But next Wednesday, I'm off, finish for summer for 7 weeks. So at that time, I'll really be able to throw myself in it. And I'm going to come on to guides a bit later. But yeah, it's going to be a top 5 this weekend. Because this weekend, even though I've still got a few days work next weekend, I don't have to do any work this weekend because students will by the end of this week be finished. I hope they'd better be. And so I won't have to do anything this weekend other than videos, which is great. So that will be out. And then I'm going to obviously do a poll for the next one, announce the next one. And I'll probably put the poll for that on MMO Champion, I'm thinking, because then you can get people voting on who wouldn't necessarily watch the videos, because I don't necessarily need people who are watching the videos to vote on it. I just think it's nice to have these things being interactive rather than me just deciding, right, this is the order I'm going to put them in. It's nice if people have got sort of say in it, and you can sort of reflect popular opinion to a certain extent. Of course, all these polls are just straw polls. It's not going out to every WoW player, is it? In terms of interactivity, so plan for streaming. Again, I've been asked if I will be streaming progress raids when Legion goes live. More specifically, when the raids go live. I'm not sure. There are a couple of issues. One issue always with streaming guild raids is, for my money, streaming its great strength is its interactivity. This is why I love the idea of like web shows more than streaming gaming, which I have done some streaming with like beta. Not been doing any recently. It's very unstable. And again, if you're not going to, you want the interactivity there, you want the chat active. Not at all possible with a guild raid, because obviously I'm focusing on what is difficult content. The content I'll be doing is the most difficult content in the game at that time. So the chat will not be visible to me at all. I won't have the chat box on, and which means I won't be able to read it, and of course I won't be responding to it. Now, it doesn't mean to say I can't stream. I would just have to stream in such a way as have a little banner, a little note there, just warning people that I cannot read the chat and I won't be able to respond to it. And if people are okay with that and they just want to watch me farting about, then okay. But then comes into the second problem. Now, the second problem was never a problem for like most of the time I played World of Warcraft. But I mean, I remember around about this time during WoD, during MOP, I should say, sorry, when WoD was about to come out, and I joined a new guild. So I joined them. I'd killed Garrosh. They'd killed Garrosh on Heroic, as it was called then, but Mythic as would call it now. And so we were just farming stuff, waiting for the new expansion. Waiting a long time for the new expansion as well. And I remember thinking, especially as beta went through and we started to see how the classes were going to be, I thought to myself, Rhett's losing a lot of utility here. And I was quite nervous as to how much raiding I was going to get. As it turns out, it was absolutely fine. I ended up being a core raid member of that guild. I didn't miss any progress in Highmall or Blackrock Foundry. I was there for all that progress, which is good because that's what I want to do. Hellfire Citadel was then a bit different for a couple of reasons. Now, I'm now in the same position. I have joined a guild who had killed, who'd cleared everything. They'd killed Mythic Archimon by the time I joined them. So again, all I'm doing is farm stuff with them. So I haven't raided with them for any progress stuff. So I'm effectively still a trial. I'm not a trial, but it's like I am. because we've never raided with each other during progress. And of course, again, Rets have lost a lot of utility. We've lost a lot of the things that have made us decent. And so, although I'm not like raining fire and brimstone about Rets, I'm a little bit tentative. So again, from a streaming point of view, it's no good me saying, well, I'm going to stream tonight's raid, and then I'm on the bench, which is possible. And it's entirely possible, of course, that I could be in the raid, and then half an hour later on the bench, and then another half an hour later back in the raid. So if I did do this, and I'm not opposed to streaming raids, it would sort of have to be on the understanding that I will stream it while I'm raiding, and then just turn it off with a suitable message on the offline screenshot saying I ain't raiding at the moment. So it would, from the point of view of someone wanting to have a look on my Twitch and see if I am streaming, it's pot luck. I wouldn't be able to predict it. So it's a wait and see really on that one. In terms of other things for Twitch, as I say, what I really like are like interactive, in particular like seminars, Q&A, things like that. The Retribution one I did some time ago I thought was really successful, and I am going to be doing some other ones. I'm going to be doing a Rec Q&A just before the pre-patch goes live. I don't know when that is yet because Blizzard haven't announced when it is yet. But as soon as they announce it, I will announce the date on like Twitter, and I'll keep reminding people of that. So we'll do another one then, and we'll probably do another one before Legion goes live, because by then I'll have released the guide for that. Now, in terms of guides, I have already got like the script for the pre-launch guide. So in other words, the time between when this pre-patch comes out and when Legion goes live, I've got the next guide, the more fuller guide than the first one I've already brought out for Retribution, as well as one for Havoc Demon Hunters, the DPS Demon Hunter spec. So those will be out relatively within the next 2 weeks, in fact, because if Blizzard at the moment are tuning, but they're not really changing a great deal in terms of how things work at the moment. As long as that stays as it is, and especially if they announce the date, which I'm expecting they're going to in about a week or something, then I'll bring those guides out. But then what I'll be doing is making sure that before Legion goes live, so around about August time, that I have the more complete actual proper Legion guides for these things, the ones post-launch that include information about the artifact and how to use that, again for both Retribution and Demon Hunter. I mean, it's not that I've forgotten, because I haven't done much on the Demon Hunter recently. It's not that I've forgotten about it. It's just simply that there hasn't been a lot changed with Demon Hunters, quite frankly. Very little has changed throughout the whole alpha beta process with Demon Hunters. They've changed the order in which talents have appeared. They have changed a little bit the way some talents work. But there hasn't been a lot of change. Nothing like there's been changed with other specs, especially Retribution. There's been so many changes with that. It's unbelievable. So that's the reason. It's not that I've forgotten about it. It's just there hasn't always been that much to report. But I will be doing guides for those. And if there was demand, I could do Q&As for those as well. Is that it? Yeah, I mean, in terms of the guides, I think I've got most of the footage I need for the Demon Hunter. I'd already gathered some footage for the Ret one, but I'm going to have to get some different ones. That's one of the things that sort of makes them take quite a long time to do as well. It's not so much writing it, because I can write a bit here or there, and it builds up over time. They'll just have to narrate it. But it's getting suitable footage or screenshots or whatever that so I can visually show what I'm talking about. And that's what takes the time, especially as beta service has been really unstable. So I haven't actually been playing it as much as I would like, because it gets a bit annoying if you know it's not particularly stable. And because I've been doing a lot with work at the moment recently, again, it's one of those things. Do I want to spend tonight getting disconnected all the time on beta, or should I just get this job done? And it's tended to be the latter. The weekly news videos I've started, so I've done a couple of those now. I think they're quite a useful addition, just to bring up the news. Because I mean, if there's something like really big comes out, I think it's something really important, I usually just do a video of that on its own, as I did for like the camera distance thing. But sometimes I think there's bits of news that aren't big enough to do a video on, but are still interesting. So I think it's quite a good thing just each week, just to do a roundup for people who aren't necessarily finding this information out themselves, because some of it is, I think, quite important for people to be aware of. So I'll carry on with that. They're not necessarily going to be very long ones, just a quick roundup. Ideally, I mean, the good way to do those, the way I would prefer eventually, is like dailies on live dailies on like Twitch. I mean, Balula and Preach have both done those in the past when they were building up their channel. It's quite strange. I also find it quite strange though, because I really like those, the idea of those, because there's not much preparation in it really. All you have to do is have like a topic to talk about, which you could bang on about for 10 minutes if necessary. And then if other people are going to feed into that, all to the better. You have a nice 20 to 30 minute daily on your hands. It doesn't take that much. It's just a conversation. Obviously, you need enough viewers to be able to have that interactivity, because there's no value in it without interactivity. But yeah, it's strange that both of those YouTubers who are, you know, very good, popular WoW YouTubers, have both done them at a point in the past while they've been building up the channel, but don't do them anymore. They're like, they got to a certain point and said, I wonder if it's actually more of a pain in the arse than I realised to do them. I don't know, because obviously at a certain time they decided they couldn't be bothered with them. But I would quite like to do those at some point in the future, once you've got far more viewers. Once you know that you're going to get a good number of viewers actually watching these shows. In terms of like general interest stuff, I mean, there's the Archives of Warcraft series, and then there's the top 10s, top 5s type thing. It's designed as top 10s, but you know, if everyone sort of mugs in on just a few of them, then it becomes a top 5, and that's fine too. It's just a bit of general interest. At the moment, it's likely to be alternating for the next few weeks. In other words, one week, like this weekend, it's going to be a top 5. The following weekend, it'll be another Archive of Warcraft. I had an Archive of Warcraft last weekend. Probably alternate like that for a little bit. We are running out of dungeons to do in the Archives. I wasn't necessarily going to do all the dungeons. I think I might do all... I don't think I'm going to do Ragefire Chasm. I can't think of anything to do for that. But I will probably now finish off the rest of the dungeons. Not Stockades either. Yeah, we'll leave out the two sort of main city instances, because I don't think there's very much to do with those. They were both pretty dull instances in their vanilla form. There was nothing to them. They became infinitely more interesting when they redid both of those. So, but I'll probably just finish off the other ones now. I might as well. I'm sure I can find something to talk about. If I could find something to talk about Alderman, there's only like a couple of points of interest on that. I can probably do it for the other ones. But then when that's finished, the natural progression from that would be like the raids, and that was sort of a plan. But when you think about it, they could be quite involved projects, they could be quite large projects, and when they're naturally ready to be done is round about when Legion is very imminent. It's probably not a good idea that I try and tackle those when Legion's coming out, because I have to then focus on getting raid ready and then getting through raid progress. So what I'll probably do with that series is just finish it off with the dungeons, come back to it at some point in the future once Legion is settled down, if it ever does settle down, but just put that on the back burner. I mean, I have a list. Every time I get an idea of like a video to do, it sort of goes on a list anyway. And many of these may never see the light of day. It's just something there. If ever I think, okay, I have some time to do something, what should I do? Have a look at the list, see if any of them sound good. Just trying to think now if there's anything else that I need to go through. I think that's about it. I think that's sort of where we are. So as like a recap of what is likely to be happening over the next few weeks, because that's, of course, that covers the period between when I next expect to do a subscriber report. So this weekend there'll be the top 5 coming out. I'm also in the process of redoing that RET guide, because they have changed things. At the moment they seem to just be in tuning mode. I will, of course, because there has been some tuning done of the RET spec this week, do another RET update. I said I'll do weekly updates of that whenever there's anything to report. and there is something to report. So I will also this weekend do a bit of thing on that. It might not be Friday. I'm going out for a meal on Friday with some colleagues. So more likely to be sort of like Saturday, Sunday. But yeah, so there'll be a top 5 out this Saturday, Sunday. There'll be a Retribution update. I will be working on getting the Havoc Demon Hunter guide done and the Retribution guide done for the expansion, the pre-patch. That will be out within the next week and a half. So if it's not out next week, it will be out a week this weekend, if you see what I mean. Then I'm going to be working on leveling up more of my copied characters to get more onto the professions. I want to do some more guys in the professions. As soon as we were allowed character copies, I sort of stopped doing those on the pre-prepared characters because they don't have any skills or the points in it, and that sort of prevents you showing certain things. So I need to re-level characters now, and I haven't got the time to do that until I stop work. So that will be in the next job. And then anything else, I mean, if people have got suggestions, I'm always available to those. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea about where we are. So we're very much into a mode of guides. It's going to be guides for Legion, and then when Legion itself launches, it's then going to be about progress, and it's going to be about raids and things like that. Basically the content I will be doing. Okay, so hope you found it useful. If you have comments below, any suggestions, comments below. Those who are new to this, who are watching this for the first time because you weren't a subscriber during my last subscriber report, do put comments in. If you've got any suggestions, put them in. I have acted on a number of suggestions, and if I don't agree with it, and sometimes I don't, then I will just say so. That's fine. That's okay, but just don't say don't get. Okay, so until next time, I'll see you later.